We just witnessed the scariest thing about the San Antonio Spurs. Now, everyone knows this team has one of the most imposing defenses in the entire NBA. But tonight, we witnessed how this team looks hitting three-point shots. And frankly, it is unstoppable. The Spurs win 96-116 over the Sacramento Kings for their fifth win of the season, the fourth win at home. What's up, Spurs Digest family? This is a Spurs Digest post-game show. We just finished up seeing the Spurs get a very impressive win over one of the better teams in the West, the Sacramento Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, guys that we know can really get it done and really hoop. We know these guys can bring it, but the San Antonio Spurs looked incredible, and that's all because they were finally able to hit the three-point shot, tying a franchise record with 22 made threes out of 46 attempts. What's up, Spurs Digest family? I know y'all are feeling good. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit that doorbell to get notified, man. We are going to keep building up these subscribers and building up this following that is the Spurs Digest family, man. And what a game this was, man. We have been just begging and pleading for some shooting to come into the mix for the San Antonio Spurs, for somebody to get hot. And it seemed as if everybody was hot tonight. So let's get right into it. The Spurs get the win, and it is all about that man Wemby. We have kept talking about him needing to take over and be the star. I have told y'all over and over again, I do not want to see Wemby stop shooting, because when those shots do fall, the Spurs are one of the scariest, most terrifying teams in the NBA, because how do you stop a 7'5" guy that also got ball handle and that can also light you up from the three? Victor Wembanyama looked so good, but so did the rest of this team. Champagnie was hitting. Castle and Chris Paul got in the mix a little bit. Devin Vassell looked good again. I mean, man, this team looked good. Now, I will say Devin Vassell, was getting a little aggressive towards the end and shooting a little bit much, but I love that Mitch Johnson was able to say, you know what, we're going to take him off the court right now, and we are going to allow the other guys kind of to get in the mix, because, Dev's still trying to get comfortable. But, man, what a team win. Wemby looked so good, and when Wemby looks good, the rest of this team looks good, because everybody's able to just play their roles and follow suit. 34 points for Victor with 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. What more can you ask for? 6 of 12 from the three-point line, 13 of 22. Man, this is one of those signature Wemby games where you look and say, this kid is the future of this league. This kid is the future of the NBA. And this kid is very, very special, and so special Wemby is, man. I mean, he just looks the part. And this is against Sabonis. This is against an all-star. This is against one of the better players in the league. And there were still times when Sabonis just, outwilled him, was just a little stronger. But Wemby just showed an ability to get it however he wanted to in this game. And it was so fun to see Wemby just continue to prove that he is the future of this league and just one of the best to do it. 34 points, man. So incredible to see. So incredible to see what he was able to do. And then to be able to do that and still get 3 blocks, still get 14 boards, and hustle in such a way, man, it was just so great to see. And this team is just starting to show you those things that come together, because this is one of those games that I was really looking for. They lost a really, really tough one against a bad team, against the Utah Jazz. Things haven't been looking great. They're playing without their head coach. They lost Sochan. Dev just got back. But this is one of those games where I really wanted to see them play against a good team in the West. And the Sacramento teams are a good team. They're 6-5, but they are still a solid team. These are one of those teams that you want to beat when you're trying to climb up in the West, when you want to become, a real team, a real threat in the West. And that's what the Spurs are trying to become. And they showed that tonight, man. Being able to hit like this from the three-point line, oh my goodness. And they were good looks. And honestly, that's one thing I will say about what we've seen this season is the Spurs have gotten good looks. They just missed good looks. The Spurs have gotten a ton of good looks, but they just could not seem to get them to fall. And we just didn't know what was it going to take for them to be able to hit these threes. And honestly, it feels like maybe just some home cooking, man. When the Spurs play at home, when the Spurs are in Frost Bank in front of their fans, man, something else just clicks. And it just seems like the energy, especially for Wemby. Wemby just seems like he was just made to play in San Antonio. You know what I mean? Like the way he just turns up for this team is just amazing. And man, Oh my gosh, man, it was so exciting watching that. And every time we got to see the guys just get off with the rock was fun because I mean, like it was just a fun team win. It was a fun game to see the guys just do their thing over there. And it was an imposing win as well. We just looked down, we looked like the better team. Even though these guys have the star potential, they have the star power over there in Sacramento. It didn't matter, man. Wemby, then the guys showed up, and I think we just love seeing this happen, right? We just love seeing this team come together. And now you got to string wins together, right? You got to do more. You got to start being able to get more wins against teams like this. Now you got the Wizards, right? You could easily get another win in a couple days. You get 2 days rest, then you're gonna play the Wizards, and that's a very beatable team, right? But again, you want us to see us play good teams well, but also bad teams extremely well. Like, we need to go play these bad teams, like when we play the Utah Jazz, like even when we play the Trailblazers, like when we play the Wizards. We need to get those wins because then there's a stretch where we play the Lakers, the Mavs, and the Thunder. That's a 3-game stretch right there that's going to be very, very tough. Now, a very telling stretch, but you want to come into that stretch with momentum. You want to come into that stretch knowing that you've been able to get wins against teams that not only are you not supposed to beat, but that you're definitely supposed to beat. And before we end this, because you know what I'm saying, I know it's a late night, man. I know you guys got to get some sleep. I know you guys got work in the morning. Before we end this, we have to show Chris Paul love, because every time this game started to get a little shaky, every time the Kings started to get on a little run, they check Chris Paul in and he would just get things to settle down. You see him out there yelling. You see him out there coaching. It's as if the guys almost get like a little like scared. Like it's like when, you know, your substitute teacher is there, but then your teacher comes back and you haven't really been acting right. And you know your teacher going to get you in line. Like that's kind of the energy and the vibes you get when Chris Paul checks in on the court. And he doesn't have to be as much of a scorer in a game like this, right? Still gets double digits, still gets a double-double, which is extremely impressive for anybody, let alone a guy that's played as long as Chris Paul. But when you have guys like Castle, Barnes, Champagne, you just basically have everybody kind of contributing and really adding to the mix. Keldon coming off the bench, giving you 11 points, 5 for 9, a very, very efficient game. You really have a guy like Chris Paul that can really just be that leader, but also be that orchestrator. He was orchestrating this offense. He were keeping guys in line. He was telling guys where they needed to be on both sides of the ball. And to me, it was just a beautiful, beautiful night for Chris Paul when you're going up against, you know, really tough guards like De'Aaron Fox. When you're going up against a really tough guard like DeRozan. DeRozan guarded him for the majority of the game. I mean, that's a big guy guarding Chris Paul, but Chris Paul was still able to make it work. He was able to get a couple floaters off, man. And I really, really loved Chris Paul's game. And I wanted to make sure he got love for really what he was able to do. But again, this was just a joint effort. This was a team effort. There was times when Vassell would take over. There was times when Keldon was using his energy to get the guys riled up. There was times when Castle was making passes and plays and defensive stops. Oh my goodness, man. I'm just so impressed by the way this guy Castle plays. He just picks up full court. He just picks up full court against tough guys. And I mean, with that size and that speed and that athleticism and honestly his smarts, oh my goodness, this team is going to be so good. But huge shout out to Chris Paul and what he was able to do tonight, because to me, he was really what kept this team from blowing a lead. But major shout out to Chris Paul and these guys. I mean, Victor Wembanyama, another 30-point plus game. And I think this is going to be normal territory for Victor, having these 30-point double-doubles. I mean, this kid can do it all. He can do it all. And I'm just so grateful to see him continue to have confidence in that jump shot, because when his jump shot started to fall, it seemed as if everybody started to fall. You know, you just wait for that basket to just get a little wider. And that's what happens when you see Victor. You know, when you see your star player and the guy that, you know what I'm saying, you're riding. You know, this Spurs team is riding Wemby. You know what I'm saying? They're only going to go as far as Wemby takes them. So, like, seeing him be able to really get it going in that confidence. And then another, you know, we talk about Chris Paul and all these guys, but, man, can we shout out Mitch Johnson? Mitch Johnson has been incredible filling in for Gregg Popovich. I was loving watching him in this game, and he's running up and down the court. He's yelling. He's being emphatic. He's being energetic, and he even knew like when to take guys in and out when they were doing a little too much. Like, he is really stepping into his own. Mitch Johnson is going to be a head coach after this season. Just from this little sample size of what we've seen from him doing with Gregg Popovich, it has been so impressive. I remember his very first game ever being able to head coach. I was there working there, and I got to interview him right after the game and talk to him, and just his excitement and the way that the players talked about him and how bad they wanted to get a win for this coach. You're seeing it now, and you're seeing the way they're able to play for this guy. And I know Gregg Popovich is watching these games, smiling, watching his boy do his thing, because he had other people he could have put in that position, but he chose to put Mitch Johnson there. And I think it is just a huge testament to just how great of a man Gregg Popovich is, but how great of an organization this is and how any coach at any time can step up and make waves for this team, man. So huge shout out to Ms. Johnson before we end this post-game show. What a win, Spurs family. What a big win. I know y'all excited. I'm excited, man. This is a Spurs Digest post-game show. I am Bryan Colbert, and until we see y'all in a couple games, baby, y'all enjoy this win. Y'all celebrate. Y'all talk y'all trash, and y'all leave y'all comments. I'm out.